Welcome to today's Explainer. We're taking a highly nostalgic and fascinating journey back in time. You know, long before the era of instant streaming, massive servers, and digital downloads, watching a movie at home meant relying on a chunky piece of physical technology that was, honestly, a total mechanical marvel. We're going to unpack the hidden engineering that literally paved the way for modern entertainment. Think about it for a second from our hyper-digital perspective today. Inside that classic plastic cassette, no memory card, no microchip, absolutely 0 GB of digital storage. And yet, somehow, an entire 2-hour blockbuster movie fit perfectly inside it. So how did we go from this completely physical object to the effortless click-and-watch streaming we enjoy now? Well, it all comes down to some seriously ingenious, almost magical engineering. Let's dive in. Section 1. The Mystery of the Cassette. Section 2, the magnetic magic of the tape. To really wrap our heads around this, we have to jump back to the 1970s. Imagine a world with absolutely no internet streaming. The breakthrough tech that ended up taking over the world was created by JVC, launching as the Video Home System, better known as VHS, back in 1976. Now, if you were to pry one of those cassettes open and pull that delicate black tape out, you wouldn't see tiny little pictures printed on it. There are no miniature frames of actors. Instead, think of that super thin tape like a long, endless road, absolutely covered in thousands of tiny, completely invisible marks. When a movie was broadcast, the video info was first converted into complex electrical signals. The VCR's job was to translate those electrical signals into these invisible magnetic marks. The tape was literally carrying a dense, hidden code right in plain sight. So what exactly are we looking at here? It's all about magnetic patterns. These are microscopic arrangements of magnetic material on the tape that store video and audio information as electrical signals. This was the true silent magic of the VCR. You see, it wasn't just storing video. That same incredibly thin strip was multitasking. It was simultaneously holding all the audio information, the dialogue, the sweeping musical scores, the sound effects, plus essential timing data that instructed the machine exactly how to sync and play it all back seamlessly. Section 3. The spinning head drum. Okay, so if the tape holds all this invisible data, how on earth does the VCR actually read it? Let's walk through the physical journey, step by step. Step 1. You push the tape in and hear that deeply satisfying mechanical click as it actively loads into place. Step 2. Tiny, super precise mechanical arms physically pull that delicate black tape out of the cassette and deep into the belly of the machine. Step 3, and this is an absolutely vital step, the tape is precisely wrapped around a rapidly spinning metal cylinder. And finally, step 4, tiny video heads mounted directly on that spinning drum read the microscopic magnetic data. This beautiful mechanical dance happened every single time you hit play. Section 4. The helical scan solution. Now, you might be wondering, why did that metal drum even need to spin in the first place? Well, JVC engineers faced a massive physical hurdle. Moving video contains a ton of information, like way more than a simple audio cassette. If they used a stationary head, like the kind in a regular audio cassette player, it simply couldn't handle that massive data load efficiently. To get the required data rate, the tape would have to move at ridiculously, unmanageably high speeds. So, the genius workaround was the rotating head. By making the video head spin rapidly against the moving tape, the machine could read an incredible amount of heavy information highly efficiently, while keeping the tape itself moving at a nice, slow, reasonable pace. The ultimate engineering trick here is called the helical scan. Instead of recording data in straight, horizontal lines straight down the length of the tape was physically wrapped around that spinning drum at a slight angle. This allowed those fast-spinning heads to record and read the video in long, diagonal tracks across a relatively narrow tape. Honestly, this masterful bit of engineering is exactly why a single, compact VHS cassette could hold an entire 2-hour movie without needing to be the size of a giant suitcase. Section 5. Tracking and analog recording. But hey, getting the info onto the tape was really only half the battle. Reading it back took absolute microscopic precision. The spinning drum and the complex system of tape motors had to be synchronized perfectly. If the timing was off by even a fraction of a hair, your TV picture would jitter, break apart, or just fill with harsh static. To fix that inevitable timing drift, we had tracking. Tracking was this brilliant control system that actively adjusted the alignment between the rapidly spinning video head and those invisible diagonal tracks. If you ever watched a VHS and saw those annoying horizontal lines or distortion jump across the screen, you know exactly what I mean. You probably had to grab the VCR remote and manually adjust the tracking until the physical head perfectly aligned with the magnetic track again. Of course, there were some inherent trade-offs in this era.
Because VHS relied entirely on analog magnetic recording, it was a pretty fragile medium. The tape physically degraded over time and with repeated playback. That's exactly why those cherished home movies or overwatched Disney tapes eventually look a bit faded or noisy today. Plus, you could actually choose to record at slower speeds to cram more hours onto a single tape, but the harsh trade-off was a noticeable drop in picture quality. It's kind of funny when you think about it. That historic battle between saving storage space and maintaining visual fidelity, that's literally the exact same struggle we still have today when trying to manage massive 4K videos on our smartphones.
Section 6. The Legacy of VHS. You know, the VCR was so much more than just a movie player. It was a revolutionary recording machine. For the very first time in history, ordinary people could record a live television broadcast right in their own homes to watch later. Missed an episode of your favorite show? No problem at all. The VCR was basically a personal time machine that forever changed our relationship with television and media. And we really can't talk about the legacy of VHS without acknowledging the famous format war. Sony introduced their Betamax format, which was a remarkably strong early competitor, but VHS ultimately won the global living room. Why? Well, JVC fiercely prioritized longer recording times, remember that crucial 2-hour movie goal, along with pushing for wider compatibility. They fostered a much stronger ecosystem of different manufacturers building VHS machines, which made it the universal standard.
And the sheer mind-boggling scale of its victory is just wild. According to JVC, by the year 1999, approximately 30 billion VHS cassettes had been sold globally. Let that sink in. 30 billion. For decades, this relatively simple-looking plastic block was the undisputed, beloved king of home memories, weekend video rentals, and family movie nights across the entire globe. As we reflect on this journey, it's worth remembering this thought. Outside, a simple plastic cassette. Inside, an extraordinary world of engineering and memories. There is just something incredibly beautiful and deeply satisfying about analog technology. You could physically hear the tape whirring. You could feel the mechanical clunk of the cassette dropping into place. While you were swept away by a story on your glowing TV screen, hidden inside that machine was a spinning metal drum and microscopic magnetic signals orchestrating a perfectly synchronized, highly tangible mechanical ballet. It's fascinating how something so mechanically complex can feel so simple to the user, flawlessly paving the way for the digital convenience we take for granted today. So I have to ask, when did you last see a VHS tape? Think about the incredible, forgotten engineering sitting in your attic, or maybe in a dusty box right now. The next time you click a button to instantly stream a movie from a distant server, take a second to remember the mechanical magic, the spinning drums, and the magnetic tape that started the whole shebang. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. And as always, keep staying curious.